Hello and welcome to the Fireside Stream with me, your host, Remy McNeil. Joining me today is my lovely co-host, Mollie Rhymemaster. How are you doing today, Mollie?
And Tiny Weiss. And Tiny Weiss. Of course. I'm doing well, Raymond, because we have a special guest. Instead of girlfriend in chat, we have girlfriend on stream.
She will be joining us for the shenanigans, and it's very exciting, because today we actually have a shifting conversation topic.
Right.
Talk about a bombshell out of left field. I have tried to remain untainted by these notes, but dear Lord, some of them were just inescapable. So, woo lads, I hope you're in for it, because this is going to be this is going to be spicy.
This is,
You alright there, Mollie?
Sarah, you don't understand.
Yeah, no, I know. This is true.
What you're about to understand.
Alright, we'll see. Oh god.
So,
Featuring the Kings of Arrested Development themselves.
Yeah.
so for the record, I apologize for how rushed anything may seem or feel or whatever. Literally just got done fighting my computer and accidentally, basically ended up deleting around 500 gigabytes of data simply because my computer doesn't know how to store crap. It really was annoying today. Regardless, that's why I'm late. That's why everything is I'm kind of like frazzled. But we'll get through it just fine. Spicy enough that 400 doses of wasabi couldn't compare. I mean, actually, I really hate wasabi, so I don't know. Maybe. So yes, this is the RWBY Volume 7 crew commentary notes.
Nightmares.
Yeah, who's the one recording this? This is someone named Sweet Fable. Who is this guy? Do we know who this is? Does anyone know who this guy is? Like, how does he have access to this already?
I don't know.
It was recorded in April 2020.
It's been a while.
Yeah, let's go through this. Featuring Carrie Shawcross and Miles Luna. Wonder. Miles says he was hoping people didn't figure out Atlas was a floating city in the sky before they got there. Even in a world of remnants, they were very careful with how they worded things to avoid spoiling this fact. First
They
of
weren't
all,
careful, they just lied.
yeah. First of all, there's blatant misinformation in those things. Although, I mean, you could argue that Atlas was in the ground at one point. Second of all, literally me and my co-writer invented the flying Atlas in our story long before it was ever revealed what Atlas was going to be like. So it wasn't all that special,
It was
Miles.
just a nightmare.
It's not, I'm not saying he plagiarized because we never released the story, so it's not like, you know, we could have him plagiarized, but not surprising, Miles. People have similar ideas. In fact, I'm pretty sure I've seen flying atlases before in fanfiction.
I wasn't, like, when they said that Atlas was floating, like, when they revealed that to us, I wasn't, like, surprised.
Also, I'm gonna try and turn on some nice, pleasant background music. I gotta find. I mean, I guess we'll just go with the old Hollow Skies. See, it's a very good, safe song to listen to.
God, I hope our viewers aren't smart. That does seem to be how Miles and Carrie handle things like commentary.
A large portion of episode 1 was intended to be in volume 6. And you know, now, thinking about this, if volume 6 had ended with the reveal of Penny, I'm thinking that it would, originally it was going to end with Penny being the big reveal, dealing with the Grim, and ending on salutations. That would have been an excellent end to volume 6, but also kind of a weird one.
Yeah, it's not, because it's not really connected to the climax of it, but it would have been cool. I liked Penny in Volume 7.
I did too. Oh wait,
Penny
have
was
you read any of the shit they said about Penny? Have you read any of the shit? 'Cause I saw one thing they said about Penny and it pissed me off.
We'll get there.
Okay. Almost everything up until the Penny moment was how it was going to be in Volume 6. For production and story reasons, I decided to end Volume 6 with just seeing Atlas. Which I think was probably the smarter call overall. Mantle is a bit more Blade Runner and utilitarian looking, while Atlas was made to look like it was created by Apple. Two different futuristic looks. I mean...
But they both look like generic cities.
Yeah, like, the thing is, like, I'm not getting Blade Runner from Mantle. Like, I think there's, like, some neon signs, but Blade Runner was, like really dark, contrasted by really bright. Mantle is just sort of, like, in a brown sludge, color-wise.
It's just gray.
It's gray and... Well, it's warm. Like, the very first images we saw of it was actually... I actually really liked it because it was really warm. It had, like, this kind of, like... Because Atlas floating above it, it had, like, this sort of, like, sheltered appearance to it.
I liked what they did, but why do they have to compare it to things, you know?
Yeah, like I would have, like, drawn inspiration from, like, my time in Germany. I would have been like, you know, I visited the town of I wanted to contrast, like, the place I stayed, which was Limburg, which was much more rustic, much more cobblestone and brickwork, with, like, Frankfurt, which was much more steel and metal and concrete. Like, you know, the contrast those two.
They were clearly going for a more realistic look than either of the things, because they didn't match any aesthetic at all besides just city.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can even see it in the background of this website. It's just kind of a city.
Oh, yeah.
When making the Four Kingdoms, they compared it to parts of the real world. Atlas and Mantle were two different versions of America.
Guys, get it because the rich or something.
Wait, two different versions of America. Wait, I thought Vale was roughly American. Because we kind of have...
It's the only thing they know. They know Austin, Texas, and that's it.
Because I was going to say, like, I would have drawn inspiration from Russia, from Germany, things that are like Finland,
Northern Europe, yeah.
Yeah, Northern Europe. Hell, you know, go all the way to in Russia, all the way to what's the really cold place in Russia? The wastelands everyone talks about. Siberia. Like, Siberian, I think that would have been a very interesting touch for things. Where you could have, like, rough Asianic, like, because there's some really, like, steppe culture in Siberia is really cool.
Someone makes a good point that, like, it doesn't look like it's a slum. It just looks like a regular city with a brown filter.
Well, it's because they don't know how to do, like tight corridors. Like, everything has to have, like, these really wide thoroughfares. Which...
There's no urban decay in it.
Yeah, there's no urban decay.
It is all America. Their things are sand for vacuo. I don't like sand. You have America, more America, more America.
Asia.
Oh, and to show that there's two Americas because this is like the 2016 election. Although if you wanted to make it the 2016 election, it would have been Mantle voting for Jock, and the wealthy elites of Atlas voting for Robin. But we can't get into that.
Yeah, like they terrible at the commentary shit.
Mistral is like a sheltered American's idea of what Asia looks like.
Yeah. The where is it? The drunk man seen insulting Blake is based off of Joel Mann and the other is Dustin Matthew. Who's Joel Mann?
Who are they?
Las Vegas criminal defense attorney.
What?
And this might be someone they know. Because, like, who's Grape-kun?
Grape-kun was that penguin, but I don't think that's relevant.
Well, I don't think they based the character off of a penguin.
Well, they should have.
I mean, yes.
Rest in power, Grape-kun.
Yeah, Grape-kun was an absolute Chad. The Chaddest of his kind. They just didn't appreciate him in his time.
If you don't know, Grape-kun was a penguin at a zoo in Japan who, so to promote, as like promotion for Kimono Friends, they put cutouts of all the characters who all, like, are animal themed in different exhibits, and Grape-kun, the penguin, fell in love with this cutout of an anime girl.
Oh my god.
He was a penguin with a waifu, and everyone...
That's hilarious.
and like the zoo played into it, and it's so cute now because when he passed away,
No.
but then they put up a new cutout of him with his waifu in the
Oh my
enclosure, and it's there permanently, and it's just like that is the
so
sweetest damn thing.
It really is adorable. Here's a Wikipedia page.
Oh my god, I
Aren't
love that.
penguins are monogamous, right? Or something
I
like that?
think so, yeah.
They are, yeah.
Because like I think the big
Typically.
story was like his basically his wife left him. That was part of the
Oh.
story. Like she left him for another penguin.
So then he fell in love
Oh.
with the. That's such like a deep story. That
It
penguin
really
lived a life.
is. Everybody, F's in chat for Grapecoon. Rest in power.
Yes.
Yeah. We saw Pietro, his hand, for the first time in Volume 3. Yes. They didn't want to make him too similar to Dr. Weller from Genlock, and so they made him to be a big, like a big kid. It's where Penny gets a lot of her attitude from. Really? They didn't want to step on Genlock's toes? You should have trampled on Genlock's toes.
So Genlock was Rooster Teeth's second, like, serious project.
Okay.
And nobody watched it.
I see.
They
It's
even
a
put it on, like, HBO and nobody watched it.
Oh god.
no. HBO has picked it up. HBO Max picked it up just now. Like the season 2 is being produced because of HBO Max.
Why? Who watched Genlock?
My question is, who's writing it now that they literally had to oust the creator for embezzling funds into his project?
Ooh.
Yeah, the leader of it was Gray Haddock. Gray Haddock is his name, and he's
Does this have to do with the board game that they crowdfunded $1 million for?
What?
Oh, I have no
right.
idea what that's for. No. It's the reason that Nomad of Nowhere basically flopped because literally he siphoned funds away from Nomad of Nowhere into Genlock.
Oh my gosh, that's awful.
Because he was the design, he was the creative oversight of like the entire animation department. Yeah, abusive. He is, and I love how he tried to sneak out. Like he revealed that he was let go from Rooster Teeth at the same time that all these other all these other animators and people were being cut, and it was like, you know, those major cuts that were really hurting Rooster Teeth's reputation. And he was like, I stand with our creators that lost their jobs, and everyone's like, shut the fuck up, bitch! You're the reason they weren't getting paid in the first place.
Why is everybody who works for Rooster Teeth revealed to be terrible?
So far, let's say the only people left are that haven't been are Jeff and Matt and Joel. Joel left of his own accord, but that's because he was the only conservative in the company.
He's probably the only conservative in Austin, Texas, if you ask me.
Yeah, he seems like a pretty well. He's really big into gold. He seems kind of like an Alex Jonesian type conservative, and I'm just like, okay.
Nice.
I meant like I like you, dude, but you're a little far on my spectrum even. It doesn't matter. He seems like having fun. Carrie wants to do a show with all the old Ruby characters. I guess he means old as in like the older characters.
You know what? The show, you have the show, it's called Ruby. You could have put the old characters
I mean, you
in
could
Ruby.
yeah, you could even do like, I really hate doing this, but you could do flashbacks like you guys did in the Freelancer saga in frickin' Red vs. Blue. Just do that.
You could have just
Except for the
used
fact they
them
couldn't.
and not create redundant characters we don't care about.
Yeah, except I guarantee you they would be like, no, but we couldn't find a justification for it in the plot, and I'm like, yeah, well, you should have thought by having an actual plot. See,
You should
V8
have thought things out.
V8 was harder to write than Volume 7. Let's see, it was a challenge in this episode to make it clear that Atlas is a new place for some characters, but familiar one for several others. But that the Atlas in Volume 7 is a different one than what they remember.
None of that was conveyed at
None
all.
of that was conveyed. They literally, there was no reactions that conveyed that this was like any different. Like, for example, why would Weiss have ever gone down to Mantle? Ever. I guess they're talking about Atlas, but like I kind of consider the two one and the same. So like, she had no room to actually react to Atlas or Mantle or anything like that. The only thing different
going
was
up to the markets in Harlem to get the special spices I want to make jerk chicken. Like, is that the type of thing?
I mean, that would have been great. It's like me and my school friends used to come down here all the time to laugh at the poor people, but all the poor people are gone now. Like, okay, think about that. You could have had a great moment with Weiss just being like, I used to look down on the people in Mantle, and now here I am, and I'm just like, she's like having a moment of reflection, just like how much we have all grown. You know what's a great way to say that, show that? Having a character reflect on the time they were a shitty person and being like, I'm better than that now.
Remember when Weiss was racist? Remember when Weiss was based?
Let's see. They try to theme the Grimm to the location. So Grimm from Atlas are those
Hold on. Weiss was vocally perturbed by how the military was out in full force when they arrived. Yeah, but that has nothing to do with this.
That has nothing
to do with the setting.
It has nothing to do with how it's changed. Like,
yeah.
Like that's a commentary on like natural current events. Like, if I know that the city I'm going to, if I've lived in the city a whole life that's been run by military dictatorship effectively or military council for years, and know that it's in high alert, when I get there, I expect to be seeing soldiers around every freaking corner and fucking airships in the sky. My commentary would be more like, hey, how has like the landscape changed? Are the streets cleaner? Are they dirtier? Are there more people walking on them? Are there less people walking on them? Were the street vendors? Were there ever street vendors? Are there street vendors now? Like, those are the weird different quirks that you don't see focused upon that would reflect upon a person being like, hey, yeah, that street corner looks way more barren than it used to. There used to be a stall over there where I bought hot dogs. Like, that's the reaction we're looking for. Which, by the way, hot dogs coming out of a vendor in the city, some of the best on the planet. They're probably the worst for you, but they are amazing.
Facts. Yeah, that's the thing, is that a lot of the times they can't really see the forest for the trees. Like, they have this idea, but they never know, like...
but they can see the grass.
Yeah.
But they can see the grass. Grass. Waves.
The Volume 5 commentary, they had a anime, like the technical commentary on it.
Volume 4.
They talked about how grass is tough. Volume 4, excuse me. Grass.
Okay.
By the way, we are getting some fanfic submissions here, so...
Keep track of them for me.
I am.
So they try to theme Grimm to the
pill.
location. So Grimm from Atlas are those that are from the Ice Age. Miles compare Grimm to Pokemon. Some will pop up in every region, while others are region-specific.
Guys, monsters are like Pokemon.
Wow.
Guys, animals vary per region. Oh no. How strange.
Just learn that animals exist.
It's like, yeah.
You really aren't based on Pokemon.
Guys, we have birds.
Guys, they made the Pokemon from Pokemon into a real thing.
Isn't like our Tanuki? Okay, you might know this better than I do. They don't have traditional raccoons in Japan. They have Tanuki, right?
Yes.
That's their raccoon. It's just like it's a raccoon dog. Do they have regular raccoons there at all?
I don't think so. I think raccoons are only North and Central America.
Yeah, so it's like a perfect example. Like they're region variants. That happens. Genetics.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so weird, isn't it weird, guys, that some Grimm live in one place, but not in another?
Wow.
They have a lot of okay, here we go. They had a lot of discussion surrounding what they wanted Penny 2.0 to look like. They considered giving her a conflict of her being a clone or not having her memories, but ultimately, with the amount of stuff that they needed to happen in this volume, they felt that they wouldn't have been able to have it done well.
Hey, Sarah, so if I had told you about a robot character, and I said the robot died, and then they brought it back, what's the best idea you have for the robot?
I don't know.
Well, what would you do to make it interesting?
Oh, I don't know. Like change their personality, I guess. Like make them like I don't know.
Ooh, that's
Something
a good
different,
one.
yeah.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. And then you'd have it like revolve around that, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so Sarah has no writing background, no
No.
storytelling background, nothing.
Literally
She could come up with this.
5 seconds. Literally 5. And, like, it's not that hard to insert. Hell, like, the best part about it is like it would be a background detail. Like, that's what I'm kind of planning on. Just like have it be like she has gaps in her memory, and like everyone's just sort of too awkward to bring it up directly. Maybe have one small conversation off to the side where she admits that things aren't quite right, and she's trying to just like trying to make them, but she can't quite get there. And like, can you imagine how great that would be for like the mental illness community? Like the people that have mental illnesses that suffer from these things. Like that's a weirdly great parallel to someone that's going through memory loss or through like some kind of like seizure episode. Like there's so much you can do with it.
Like, and they were even trying to explore a little bit of that with Winter and Penny's dynamic, and you could have done even more of that with. Oh, and it would have been so interesting. Would you have preferred this robot plot that we're talking about, or would you prefer the evil white man stole the election from the woman?
The one they're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, yes, there is the big one that I was raging about because oh my god, how do they fuck that up? Okay.
It's like they're so scared of doing these things that could possibly be negative. Like here's the thing I always say is you know, like I'm a huge Three Houses fan, and I will always prefer the Black Eagles route to the Blue Lions route. And the Blue Lions route has tighter writing. However, the Black Eagles route actually did something different with its story than most things have done, which is that you kind of were allowed to be the person bulldozing a region for the greater good and having to deal with that moral. It wasn't perfect, but I liked it more because it actually made me feel kind of conflicted about things. And you know, like Ruby has no concept of this. It always wants to play the safest possible route, and it can't even do it well. Like
it's like, well, that's a problem. Is that like when you try to play the safest possible route, you stop being interesting, you start being boring. Like it's that uncanny valley that Fat Man talks about all the time, where Ruby is typically so bad it's good, and it's rarely ever so good it's good. And now that they're trying to get even gooder from so bad it's good, they're dipping into the uncanny valley of so bad it's boring.
Yeah, which is the worst thing you could be. The worst thing you can ever be in your story is boring, because the reason why I want to have Sarah like here with the stream is because we're reading some fanfics, and Sarah, like I said, has no background in any of this stuff. She is the person you are writing for. When
Hello.
she isn't trying to delve into your world building or think about the intricacies of your plot. She wants to be entertained.
Yeah.
That's her prerogative as the average reader.
Mm-hmm.
You are trying to impress her, not me.
Yeah.
If it fails on her, you have failed. Because I can watch Ruby be boring as sin, and so can Raymond, and we could pick that apart for hours because we are weirdos.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I watched the CW shows. I watched Arrow all the way through. I've watched The Flash up until the current season. I've watched through the current season. I watched those shows because they hit both notes constantly, where like they have some amazing moments of character, of these great acting moments, but more often than not, they're hilariously bad. Like, I cannot tell you how many times I've yelled at the screen going, Flash, you were knocked down for like 2 seconds and the bad guy literally has nothing but magic tricks up his sleeve. He could not have gotten farther than one city block, and you can clock that in under a millisecond. Why aren't you chasing the motherfucker?
It's like the reason I have a lot of issues with like modern Western animation is similar, where they keep trying to do this weird thing where they want to be kind of like funny and bad, but they're also dipping into this like more serious vibe of like, let's talk about mental health today, but they're written by like complete weirdos and maybe not the best choices for this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So they hit this weird point where I just like don't give a shit, and it just is funny, but like
Just like, let's talk about my neuroses.
yeah. Remember, guys, when you show your hand, do it gracefully.
Do it gracefully and honestly.
Don't, if you have mommy issues, don't beat us over the head with them every episode, Miss Stevenson.
Yeah.
Wait, when did Noelle Stevenson have that?
That was like her.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I completely blanked on Shadow Weaver for a second there. Never mind.
And
Moving
Glimmer,
on.
and Glimmer and her mom.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
That show is filled with mommy issues.
Yeah,
But not really daddy
And they're
issues.
like,
which is actually,
what?
that's a nice change of pace.
Except besides daddy issues. Well, yeah, but Glimmer's mommy issues were like, Mom, despite the fact that my IQ is the same as the room temperature, you won't let me go into life or death situations, and that makes you shitty.
And then her, yeah.
Well, we're
And
lagging-
then her mom died.
And then Glimmer's like, oh, all right, everybody.
Well, we're lagging behind. Let's move on to chapter 2 here. Featuring Carrie, Connor, and Kiersey. Connor being the director. Forrest became a fan favorite. He was that one guy that made the
Forrest.
He was that. If you remember them being transported up to Mantle, he was part of the at the Atlas. Like he was the guy that like did like the weird freak out in front of the window in the back of the airship.
Who?
Exactly, and it was a really awkward comedic scene. It was like one of those weird Eddie moments. I call them at this rate.
I'm looking it up and I see like OCs. Somebody DM me a picture of this person.
Let's see, this episode was tricky to write because it was getting close to being an exposition dump. My guys, I want to give you a warning here. If you think it's getting close to being an exposition dump, you're already there. Now the problem is exposition dumps are necessary if they're done properly. You can have a character give an exposition dump. It's fine. You can have it done diegetically, and you can have it be interesting. Again, me and Fatman always
like
refer to Oobleck. Oobleck is great at giving those.
I like it in Katara Uchikoshi games where he just sits you there for 30 minutes and explains what's happening, and the entire time I'm completely there for it.
Or the codec calls from freaking Metal Gear Solid, which aren't always the best, but they are entertaining because the voice acting sells it.
Yeah.
They had to balance movement and how much the characters can emote, especially when characters lie this episode.
They don't do either.
No, they do. They do. I think... I mean, there are some points I can give them, because like when Ruby lies to Ironwood, I think it was a well-directed, well-shot scene, and I think the animation supported it all right. I don't think it was anything superb, but I think it was competently done. So
that's fair.
Yeah, I give them... Again, Volume 7 had some decent quality to it overall. It's just like it's kind of like spreading marshmallow on mud. Like, you don't want to lick it because you're not going to get marshmallow all the time, but you know there's marshmallow there.
That's fair. It's just very forgettable for me.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Like
I
again, so good it's boring. So good / bad, it's boring.
Yeah, had I more time, I would have gone back and rewatched Volume 7.
Yeah.
I remember that girl getting her stomach sliced open.
Fiona, yeah. God, she has such a cute design. Like,
I love it every time somebody in chat references, "I'm angry."
Ironwood's office shifting to present his plan was a cool idea. Plus, it was another way to stay in the room without having things get boring.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I like that.
Ironwood, as they really wanted Team Ruby to feel like they were on the right path and had something to follow, establishing the trust theme early on. Okay, so basically, I mean, I guess it's true that the big overarching theme of this volume was trust, or the lack thereof. So, okay. All right.
Yeah,
that's
you
fair.
could tell because the opening was called Trust Love. By the way, you can rewrite that song really easily to be like shitty gospel rock.
Excuse me. That you mean quality gospel rock.
Quality. You're right. Compared to normal gospel rock, it is pretty good. You're not making Christianity better. You're
No,
making
I
rock
was
music
making a
worse.
commentary on the quality of gospel rock in general. Do. Crow and Ironwood's relationship is super interesting to Carrie, and he wishes they could have explored it more. Then why didn't you? Connor pushes for Crow's hand to be lower in the hug scene. Okay.
I don't like that they considered using Ironwood for ship bait. They're already neutering his character enough.
Connor jokes that he also proposed Ironwood should propose to Oscar when kneeling. Okay, that's fine. That's a joke. Ironwood giving the relic back was his biggest sign of trust. Okay.
It worked great for them.
To be fair, everyone fucked up. Everyone's fucked up. They comment how positively Penny states it'll be just like Beacon again when she got destroyed there in Volume 3. Yeah, you know what would have been really great? Like, having that be like a moment of Penny not remembering the fact that she got violently murdered at Beacon.
I don't think yeah.
Like
yeah,
that,
there's no way she would have remembered that.
well, she does remember that, apparently. But she just doesn't comment on it. Carrie calls Watts Daddy Longlegs. Fair. Chapter 3, featuring Carrie and Miles. They were confused when they saw people on Reddit and Tumblr think this volume would have a shopping montage. I think that would have been better. I would have loved the shopping montage.
It would have been nice just seeing how the characters hang out with each other.
Like, because between volume 3 and 4, we didn't get to see how they got their new digs. We didn't really need to, but in between volume 6 and 7, it's a complete sudden jump. It's like it's a 1 day or whatever of time. So like seeing how they
it would have been really cool characterization.
Yeah. Like, can you imagine Weiss immediately going to like the most expensive things on the rack, and then everyone being like,
store.
"Weiss, you literally have no money. You're poor," and then they have to drag her off to the bargain bin, and she's like just sitting there like, "I don't. What is this? How people live? How?"
Weiss really need to have one of those. One of my favorite Tumblr posts is someone's like, "Did you know that the average dollar bill has all these gross things on it?" And someone responds with, "That's why I only use crisp hundreds, unlike you poors."
Team Ruby jumping out of a plane is a callback to landing strategy. Yeah, fuck, don't need that. Of course, it's a callback to landing strategies. I mean, like, it doesn't. It's stupid. Stupid. The crew thought everyone would love John's new haircut and was shocked when everyone immediately hated it. Miles wanted to see John grow up a bit, so he liked the change. It's almost as if it looks more like Miles' haircut.
It does. So it's like this, like one of like these haircuts.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Which is exactly what Miles has.
Oh, okay.
And it looks like a haircut you give to like a 13-year-old boy who wants to
like
be an
classic,
influencer.
Yeah. Philip DeFranco would like a word with you. They wanted Team Ruby to start acting like and learning from professional huntsmen. What? Only now? 7 volumes in?
Oof.
Just now you wanted them to start acting like and learning from What was volume 1 through 3?
It's literally the setting of the show.
That was literally the point from word go. I don't understand. I really don't. I don't understand their writing process. I don't understand their brains. Miles wanted Atlas to feel like the Beacon days at first, and first came up with the idea that some of the Atlas Academy professors would teach them. But that evolved into mentors, which eventually became Atlas's best of the best. Wait, was that, like, supposed to be Team Funky? Or was it supposed to be...
No, I think it was the Aesops.
The Aesops, I guess?
Yeah.
The Aesops are not only fun characters, but also foils to some of our main characters to help them move the story along.
Wow,
Their
I'm
stories
a moron, and I didn't notice that. Thank you, Miles and Carrie.
Yeah, the Aesops having 5 members plus a team name, not only not based on a color, was very intentional. It was to show that Ironwood doesn't care about Oz's rules and would rather have an efficient... Then why do you have a team called Funky? Fuck this!
With 2 people in it.
This is further spurring the fact that I want to delete Aesops from canon.
Missed opportunity to call them the base stops.
The base stops.
They're giant racists.
Eddie came up with the name. Okay, whatever.
It's mighty.
The mine scene has us seeing the SDC logo everywhere. Adam, as terrible of a person as he was when he was younger, was arguing with someone at SDC place, and the other person grabbed the brand and gave him his scar. So seeing the logo all over the mine was very intentional to put that in the forefront of Blake's mind, and Yang notices.
Can we talk about something for a second?
Yes.
Weiss's family logo is everywhere. Weiss's family logo was on Adam's face. Who gets the character development from this? Blake.
Oh, God. Let's see. The fight with the Sentinel Grim was originally supposed to be a bit longer, and there was going to be an alpha variant of the Sentinel, which they implied we'll see in the future. I don't even remember what the Sentinel Grim was.
No.
Chat, remind me what the Sentinel Grim is. I'll look at you later. Some characters got more upgrades than others. Weiss is already perfect, so she didn't need any changes.
Weiss is already perfect.
What about
I'm glad they
pants?
recognize it.
She could get pants.
What you say?
They could give her pants better than a skirt that she'll probably just trip over. Miles was excited they were able to give Ren heavy rounds to shoot with. Ren has his father's dagger on his arm. Congratulations! You can't really convey that very well, now can you?
Do they realize, like, who cares about Ren? Anyone in chat tell me you care about Ren, please.
Okay, clarify. Who cares about Ren in the canon show versus who cares about Ren in Fixing Ruby? And the Sentinel ones were the centipedes, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which, okay. Centipedes, great. We're using...
Bug.
Yeah.
Sarah
bug.
likes bugs.
I do like bugs.
She likes all things creepy and green.
You're not wrong.
Let's see. Some character... Okay, so, many things that seem like retcons are actually not. Instead, it's just Carrie and Miles learning how to tell a story while simultaneously telling a story. So things are not always explained well early on. Stop! Look. Ready to lead this charge, you should have started on much smaller projects. If you're going to learn, then the first rule is to learn to own up to having a retcon. Alright? Retcons are okay. Alright? Like, they can get annoying. The lore junkies hate them. But it's okay. As long as you come out and be honest about it. Saying that it's not a retcon doesn't make it not a retcon. It's still a retcon. Sorry, my screen froze there.
Like I'm imagining being like Miles and Carrie. You could have done Little Witch Academia, but instead you had to go for Final Fantasy VIII.
Basically, and if you guys do pay attention, basically Ruby is just Final Fantasy VIII, but worse, which is impressive, actually.
Except for Weiss, who's Celeste from Final Fantasy VI, and that's why she's good. Because that's a really strong character to base.
But now she's
on.
also Artoria Pendragon from Fate, so she's also kind of bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
But
it's
also kind of good
balancing
depending on
out.
which version you're getting, so it's a wash.
Like
A whitewash! No? Okay, all right, fine. Fell flat. All right, so let's see. Where were we?
Volume 7 commentaries killing the stream.
Yeah, no, my computer freezes from time to time. It's really weird. I pretend it's not an issue and just keep on living. Crow and Clover were an interesting couple of characters, Miles says. For a long time, Crow was the guy that worked best alone, compared to Shadow the Hedgehog, and wanted him to interact with people that aren't his nieces and their friends. Clover was made to be a total bro and like Captain America, who always makes luck puns. He constantly feels like he is in an action movie because Clover is kind of a person that Crow always wanted to be. At the beginning of their friendship, Crow doesn't really like Clover and finds him irritating, but eventually it evolves into friendship and later on tragedy. Congratulations, you just spelled out the entire plot. That's okay, great. Whatever.
It's so simple. Like, Shadow worked with Rouge and Omega. Dr. Pepper's right. Let us not forget our homies, Rouge and Omega 123. E123, that was his name.
Let's see. They left Ruby out of the battle of the Aesops versus the Geist to showcase how they didn't need Ruby to get things done. It was their moment to shine. You could have set that up better. Wanted to give a sense of the first few episodes that maybe everything will work out okay. No one believed you for a second. Yeah, spoiler alert, it won't. Great. Wonderful. Chapter 4, featuring Paula, Dustin, Eddie Rivas, and Carrie Shawcross. At least, I'm very interested in the fact they got a lot of spread across who's giving the commentary.
Yeah.
They wanted a chance for the characters to breathe a bit before bigger things went down. Carrie loves the lighting in the first scene. They reference how lighting looks in the tundra.
Guys, they referenced us.
Yeah, hey, chill. Yeah, see, our lighting in the tundra, superb. And if you want to see the lighting, you can subscribe to me on my Patreon for $1 or more and get access to it. And you'll see that beautiful lighting whenever you want.
I give him $3 and we're buddies now.
She's right, you know. No. The first draft of the scene where Ironwood is giving orders originally happened in his office. Huh? Okay. I did feel it was kind of out of place just out in the middle of the tundra like that. From V5, they learned it's great to be efficient with sets, but they can fatigue the audience and crew. Is that what they called it? Efficient with sets? You mean never leaving the same location?
Yes.
For weeks on end. Originally, the celebration wasn't going to be in Amity, and instead it was going to be in Atlas's version of an auditorium. All right, smart choice.
Atlas's version of an auditorium. Guys, they just learned what auditoriums are.
And they had to specialize it. They couldn't just make a normal auditorium. They had to make the Atlas type of auditorium.
What does that mean? We kind of perfected the concept of the person is in the middle and there's seats around
No, you see, the Atlas version of it had the person speaking at like the top of like it's like the inverse of what you get from like a lecture hall. Where it's like the podium is up on top and everyone sits below looking up.
We're just joking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, what the fuck?
God, can you imagine the next strain? Originally, the celebration, like I said, the ship Jock arrives in is the same one Winter arrives in Volume 3. It's a Schnee Company ship. Why does Winter fly around in a Schnee Company ship and not a military ship? Also, that's a very flattering frame for it to froze on.
Why didn't they send in like the president on like an F-150? Like just a pickup truck.
Paula thought it was important that Blake hold Weiss's hand and be the first to stand by her side when Jock is yelling at Weiss, since Blake knows that what it is like to be in an abusive relationship. Ruby and Yang didn't even
I like that with Weiss and Blake. Weiss and Blake had a lot of potential as foils, and they just
squandered it. Absolutely squandered it. Also, like I don't know. Come on, Ruby, step up. Like how did just because they don't like they could understand a father talking like that to Yang literally had like her dad being like, maybe you lost some brain cells along with that arm. Like, holy shit, man.
Not only that, but like you can still recognize when something's bad.
Yeah. Like, come
You
on.
don't have to experience an abusive relationship to recognize one.
Us white rose shippers have not been given a damn thing in volumes. Give us something, damn it. You love teasing ships so much.
At least tease the good one.
You know, the healthy one? The one of the bubbly young girl trying to help the stuck-up rich girl figure out what humanity is, that sort of thing? Like, the healthy ship?
Like Blake and Yang's relationship is literally just like it encapsulates like insidious codependency in a relationship.
They were excited to write Penny and Winter's Mirror Destiny, which laid some of the foundation for this episode.
The concept that like they're foils basically, which was good, bro. Penny and Winter were the MVPs. That was the goatest shit I've ever seen in this show.
Well, yes, but like at the same time, I thought like the actual writing of it, like the actual dialogue, was kind of inane.
It was, but like my standards are not high.
True.
Like, okay, imagine I'm me. Now imagine the floor. The floor is the bar.
Don't put bars on the floor, man. You'll trip over them. Crow talking to Ruby was barely on the outline for the episode, but it was on their wish list if they had time to get it in. What? Literally, you only had that scene? Like, oh god, that scene was literally just there to name drop Summer again. Your mother, Summer. You know, the woman that gave birth to you. The Summer, your mother. Like, it was basically just that. Dustin says fatherly when describing the moment, and Carrie is like, you just opened up a whole can of worms. Fair. I mean, that is a popular fan theory. Eddie loves the Jim gag when referring to John. Yeah, actually, I like that. I actually, that's one of the few good gags in the entire show. Well, the entire volume. Watts' entrance was difficult shot to execute properly because of the door. The door?
Hey, can we move on to fanfic stuff? And maybe do this in like bits?
Okay, sure. What do we want to look at? Give me a link.
I was sent one thing by Isa and one thing by Dr. Pepper. So I'm gonna DM them both to you so you can put them up on screen. Sarah's getting bored talking about Ruby.
No, it's okay.
Also, I'm getting a little bored talking about Ruby. I want to split this for next week.
Okay.
If that's fair.
That's fair. Okay. All right. So Isa and Dr. Pepper sent us their own works. This is Fate Stay Night and Ruby. Want to talk more about Ruby? You know?
Well, I didn't want to talk about. Well, yeah, we're being sent. Your summer mother.
Thank you, Blue.
Mother, your summer. Okay.
You're a summer Ruby. I'm a what?
All right. Are we reading Isa's first?
I suppose so. Okay. So, forward. This is a food-related spin-off of Ghost Savior's Fragments of Chaldea, with explicit permission from Ghost Xavier. As such, please do not use his characters without permission, and In addition, any mistakes of food or character related should be taken up with me, not Ghost Xavier. Okay. The Great Debate! Place, time, culture. Every single point in time and every person may drastically differ from one another, but there is one thing that unites everyone. Food. That which gives sustenance and joy to billions around the world. From the dawn of man to the modern era, food is a constant. Of course, not everyone agrees what's the best. Tea, coffee, tea, coffee. This is one of those times. Seen in the salon, a rare argument has arisen between two masters. Anishka Sharma, the 50th Chaldean master, born in India and naturally closer to tea than coffee. On the opposite end, Sky Albanese, a man known to drink coffee as if it was water. It matters not what brought it on, but now these two are stuck in an absurd debate that has pervaded for generations. Now, okay, so already before we even get into the substance here of
Hold on.
What?
I want to have the layman's commentary first.
Oh, okay.
So, what do you think so far?
Good.
It's pretty good. Would you say it's doing a job of grasping you, of intriguing you?
I think so. I mean, I'm interested to keep going.
You want to learn what's these guys are
Up
on
to?
about, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Raymond, what do you have to say?
First of all, using pervaded for generations, I think that's a misapplication. It should probably be persisted.
Yeah. I don't know.
Pervaded kind of works, but it doesn't flow quite as naturally as persisted does.
I mean, it makes sense, but yeah, it's not a great word.
Yeah. To pervade something always feels like... Pervaded is very rarely used. To pervade, something that has pervaded. It's a word. It's not very comfortable in many ways. Also, what I'm noticing here is you're talking a lot about the things. You're not letting them speak for themselves, which for the first few lines works okay because like you're establishing. But once you get into like who's sitting where and where they stand on the argument, you should really let their actions and what their words say speak for themselves to carry them. You should rarely... I mean, you can sometimes express what a character is feeling or what they desire, but it really speaks better if you just let the character speak for themselves. So how I would have handled this is one of those times, sitting in the salon, we're sitting in the salon, two masters spoke in heated tongues.
And then go into dialogue.
Well, then he has like, Anishka Sharma, the 50th Chaldean master, born in India, describe something physical they're doing. Don't immediately say naturally closer to tea than coffee. Don't describe where they lean on the issue. Describe what they're doing and try to make the reader infer from that information what side of the argument they're on, and then confirm it with dialogue. And then on the opposite end, Skylar Albanese, a man known to drink coffee as if it were water, describe again more about what he is doing than who he is at that moment.
However, you did do the job of intriguing your audience, which is a good foundation, is that you are setting up a scene.
Yeah. So far pretty good.
Yeah.
Tea is weak. Not enough to keep a guy running. Plus, it's so finicky to work with. Types of tea, temperature, time of steeping, and so much pre-work. Frankly, I just want to press a button and get a pot of Joe quick.
Yeah. Proofread, people.
Yeah, proofread. First of all, too many capitals. Types of tea doesn't need temperature, time of steeping. Like those don't need to be capital at all.
This isn't German.
Yeah.
You don't need to capitalize every noun.
Yeah. Oh, maybe that's why I always fuck up my English. I have German drilled into me. Also, you need a period at the end of this, and like, just want to press a button and get my get a pot of Joe, a cup of Joe. I feel like that ending there doesn't work quite right. Doesn't flow.
Because you're like describing them as these big important people, and this guy's just using like really casual dialogue.
Well, no, I think actually this works because he actually didn't describe how important this guy was besides being a master of something.
Yeah.
I like the idea. The thing is, characterizing people through dialogue is very important. How people speak, and I'm actually struggling with that when what I'm writing now, where like I have one character that talks with a lot. The main character talks with a lot of conjunctions and such, and I realized that later on I wanted to so that he would be the only one that does that. So now I have to go back through and make sure that no one else is talking with conjunctions.
I think also knowing Isa himself, it's today's sponsor is Grammarly. Knowing Isa himself, this is just how Isa talks.
Yeah, which generally is a good rule of thumb, though I would recommend listening to other people and trying to emulate that speech yourself. It really does help. Frankly, I just want to press a button and get that pot of Joe as quickly as possible. I think that might flow a little bit smoother. And that's the problem. Coffee is too strong. It can disrupt one's sleep and biology. Also, you are one to talk about finicky. Your drink can literally fail based on the grind, the humidity, temperature, and even the pressure of the grounds are pressed at. If you go the easy method, you end up with a bland one-note drink. Okay. Better sentences, but noticing very similar to the writing of the first character. You may want to try and differentiate how the two speak. You got to actually think how you break that up. You know, maybe they talk in a different cadence. So instead of like having, even something as small as adding like like I was doing naturally there. Your drink can literally fail based on the grind, the humidity, the temperature, and even the pressure the grounds are pressed at. Even that little bit can actually spice up and break up the character's dialect. What? Looking on are two pairs of eyes. One is the great hero of the second Yuga, a man representative of the creator and known for a tragic love, Rama. The other a corrupt knight, was once just turned into a glutton, Artoria Alter.
What?
Oh, this is because it's Fate. There are like alternate versions of different characters. But like, this is a weird way to introduce them. I don't know. This seems really abrupt. It doesn't feel smooth at all.
A man representative of the creator and known for a tragic love. Like, does that like?
Yeah,
Like,
the phrasing a little.
Well, again, the issue is you're describing who he is as opposed to letting him speak for himself.
Yeah.
Oh, what does Pot of Greed do? What does Pot of Greed do?
I'd agree. Draw 2 cards.
Yes,
Sarah knows all about trading cards.
I do.
Guys, throw some Pokemon card questions at my girl here.
Oh yeah, I got you.
She could control this stream if it was about Pokemon cards.
Let's see. If I were you, I would just cut that entire description there. I would just go right into a character commenting on the absurdity of it, where like and then you have like at the end you have it clarified that there's a third and fourth person you have a third person in the room, and then you have the fourth person comment, and then you describe why they're there, as opposed to who they are. You describe why they're present currently.
Yeah, this also The acronym of Fate Grand Order is FGO because it stands for fucking go outside. Which is great advice for today's stream.
Except when you're watching this stream, you should just keep watching the stream. In fact, you should get your other friends who are outside to come inside and watch the stream.
Yeah, guys, go outside after the stream.
Yeah. So, didn't expect Anishka to be this heated. She's normally so reserved. Isa, I can hear your voice in this.
We literally, like, I don't know how these characters type, but doesn't this, like, it just sounds off, right?
Yeah.
She is normally so reserved.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you do not think about other people. You have to consider others when you write. Others don't sound like you.
Yeah. The meh, these things happen. I've dealt with my master drinking so much coffee to make a horse buzz. Not so much. Enough coffee to make a horse buzz.
So much coffee to make so much coffee it would make a horse buzzed.
Yeah, that doesn't sound
Side
right.
alter.
I should have expected him to be passionate. I should have expected him
Hold
to be
on,
passionate.
hold on. I want to point something out here. Okay, so Sarah, you see this chunk of text here?
Mhm.
What do you notice about it?
It's all like one line
What else? It's all
dialogue.
it's all one line, dialogue description, space, dialogue description, space, dialogue description, space. So when I look at my writing back, like when it's just on the Word document, I never want my writing to look repetitive, even visually.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes. I struggle with that all the time. Where I'm always like, nah, I'm starting off too much with dialogue. I should start off with a descriptor, but I've always used this descriptor, so I need to use this instead. I'm constantly thinking through that process. Now, here's the thing: this is still healthy. This is healthy for a fledgling writer because it at least gets you in the process of when a new character is speaking, you at least have a new paragraph, which is a thing that so many young writers do not understand. How many times have I seen a promising concept gone into the fic and just seen...
It's a block.
Well, no, not even a block, but I see paragraphs, but like inside of a paragraph, you have two people talking in different text, in different sections of text. Like, it's confusing, it's disorienting, it's... This is still healthy. Just get in the practice of starting off with description, then going into dialogue. I know it doesn't feel natural at first, but it can. Let's see. I'm trying to think of what other things are in here. I'm gonna skip around because I mean honestly, it's not a topic that I'm particularly interested in. Like it hasn't grabbed me honestly, but again.
Oh, it gets interesting.
Oh, it gets interesting.
Scroll down.
Where am I scrolling to? Because like we're here with like
More.
this
More.
here.
Well, I can't. The stream has to catch up.
Okay, well, I'm gonna scroll to like the next big thing that I notice, which is while these people are really getting into it over bean and leaf water, maybe I'll have some fun. Angela smirked right before getting death glares from the four involved. Regardless, the damage was done. Posts were made on Throne Book, debating tea and coffee, and the whole Chaldea was swept in. Demon King of the Sixth Heaven. Are these supposed to be comments, I'm guessing?
No.
These are supposed to be like Facebook posts or something like that?
Yes.
Oh.
Formatting is very important when you're using digital surface. I don't know how to fix this.
Just don't do social media posts as a way to this is like when I talk about showing your hand, it is so obvious that you just got tired of writing real dialogue. So you went to your comfort zone, which is social media.
I don't necessarily agree with that, because I think people do it because it's fun to see the idea of these characters interacting on social media. What kind of personas do they put on?
I get that much, but there's no proper segue into this, and it comes off to me like you were just like, I should do Facebook because I use Facebook, or whatever it is.
Well, I mean, like, you could have easily, like, she checked her phone or whatever, like, and then, like, pull up these things. And, like, typically what I would have is I would first, don't center text. Oh my God, do not center text. It is a big mistake.
Center text is for poetry only.
Yeah. And
flyers.
Yeah.
If I were you, I would put it like, I would, put the name, colon, then have their description underneath. Bolding things out. Bold and underline isn't a bad move necessarily, but especially when it looks like how you started your chapter, you need to be very careful with that. If I were you, I would actually change font size. I think changing font size to be smaller or maybe bigger would be better at emphasizing these things. If you really wanted to go, that guy's driving really slow. That was weird.
Hold on. Someone in chat has a good idea, which is summarize what the posts are saying instead of actually writing it out. It's more difficult, but like, would you want to read all this?
No, I thought it was the end. Like, I didn't realize that I thought that was like descriptions of like character.
And also,
I didn't even realize it was post.
Also, same thing. Even though you have some capitalized, all I read is Isa. There's no differentiation between the characters talking.
Yeah, like think about it. What character in here would use late speak? That's my question.
Yeah,
what would use late speak?
That's the best part about like chat fics that are supposed to be funny. That like, which character would do this?
Yeah.
Like I have my stupid Three Houses music playlist, and the whole point behind it is like, oh, what would these characters put on a workout playlist?
The my favorite Little Witch Academia. There's Cons, who in the show never speaks. In a chat fic, I always get amused when she is literally the most talkative person in the entire chat fic, because it's not speaking; it's literally just text. So like, you gotta think like that, where it's like, when you're using text, use it to convey character. For example, I love using, when I'm talking formally, I love using correct punctuation, using good grammar, trying to keep all my words proper. Sometimes I'll mess up, putting intentional grammatical mistakes and that kind of stuff. Very smart move. When I'm talking casually, I usually don't give a shit. I don't usually use punctuation unless I absolutely need it. You gotta think in that mindset.
He was emulating a fanfic he had read before.
Yeah, that's what he said at the beginning of this.
Yeah, I just think, like, but that's the thing, he's trying to emulate it, but, like, the input was something else and the output was Isa.
Yeah. So,
that's what we're saying is, that's another, like, don't show your hand thing. Don't make it so obviously sound like you. Because even if I don't know you, if all the dialogue is exactly the same, I start to pick up on it.
None of these sound like different characters to me. They all sound like the same character.
I can hear this in your voice, Isa.
I mean, it might be helpful. I don't know if Isa, I know you're obsessed with Fate. I don't know if you watched the dubs at all, if there are dubs. I think maybe watching the dubs would help you get a better idea of what these characters sound like, because in Japanese, unless you speak Japanese, you're not going to pick up on the nuances. At that point, everyone was just tired and exhausted and anxious from the debate, so they just head to this. Okay, no, that is a big no. not everyone is going to agree to that. And also showing that, like, everyone kind of wearing down is more interesting than not. Although I typically when it comes down to that, I would save it for another chapter.
Yeah. So Sarah, do you want to, like, are you interested in where this is going?
Not particularly.
Why?
I also don't watch, like, I don't know the context, but
Like in the context of it being just, imagine it's characters you do know.
okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, with the adjustments, probably.
It really can make the difference between, like I said, the average person reading this and then clicking out because they don't care, and keeping the person interested.
Yeah, if I were you, Isa, I'd keep a close watch on the view count between chapters, and
Yeah.
that'll tell you if chapter 1 was good, you'll see a lot more people in chapter 2. Well, you'll see quite a few people in chapter 2. If it wasn't, then you're not going to see a lot in chapter 2 in comparison. Typically, my go-to is at least a 50% retention rate between chapters. That's typically a good sign. I don't know, that might be a little high. What do you think, Molly?
Stay in school.
Fate stay in school.
All right, let's check Dr. Pepper's fanfic.
Yep. Alrighty. You want to take over reading for
right.
this one? Because my voice is getting a little worn.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm going to. 2 men came out of a weapon shop, the place they worked at. The people who closed up shop was the owner and a worker. Okay, grammar.
First,
The people who closed up shop were, plural, were.
Yes.
Have a good evening, Dr. Pepper, the shop owner said to the man. So I guess this is like his own original thing.
Team Soda, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, full stop, we already have an issue. Sarah, can you point out the issue?
At the beginning.
Very first line.
The organization of the sentence.
All right, that's a good place to start. What else? What else sticks out to you as unusual? Think of the information being conveyed.
Okay.
How would you say it to someone?
Like this whole thing. A lot shorter. It could be like the first sentence could probably be summarized in like half the length that it currently is.
You know what? You don't even need this first sentence.
Yeah, that too.
You could just say, "Have a good evening, Dr. Pepper." Like, you know, or like we're closing up shop.
Like
Have a good
yeah,
evening.
yeah.
Yeah, you could tighten it super like this is all redundant information that we're going to learn anyway.
Yeah.
So like I like having someone come out of a door. I like to start my stories with some kind of grab. So like dialogue is usually pretty sharp for that. A statement of fact. Although I typically start with a much more energized beginning where it's like a character put off kilter almost immediately. So I can kind of like immediately get like down the split where like there's normalcy and then there's not normalcy and I can contrast the two. Having it start slow like this. Have a good evening, Dr. Pepper, the shop owner said to the man. Or better yet, just have a good evening, Dr. Pepper. And then you skip a line. You don't even have a description after that, and you just have Dr. Pepper reply, "You too, Ben." Dr. Pepper said sadly and inside, or said basically like.
This is similar. It could be tightened. He sighed sadly.
Or
Right.
better yet, you too, Ben. Dr. Pepper said, giving a polite wave and sighing. Like the polite wave immediately conveys who he's talking to and how he's talking. Like it gives a better it gives a better picture of what's happening physically.
Also, small thing. If dialogue is ending and you're going to write "he said," comma, not period.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, please continue.
Hold on, I'm talking to chat in chat. If you guys want to send a submission, DM me or Raymond. don't DM me on Twitter because I don't use Twitter. It's blocked for me right now, just because I have it set up like that for school.
You can send it to me on Twitter.
Yeah.
I'll usually keep track of that kind of stuff. I'll try not to lose it because I get a lot of notifications in a day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ben patted DP's back. Hey man, it's all right.
Yeah.
Hey man, comma, it's all right. Comma, I know you really liked her, but things happen and life doesn't always work out the way we want it to, not wanted to. Comma, he said, comforting him. You see what we're talking about?
Redlock, why are you thirsty all of a sudden? Because you're stuck in
Dr.
horny
Pepper.
jail.
It's Dr. Pepper. He wants soda.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
That's kind of cute.
Let's see, but Ben patted. Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I know. It's just I didn't know she was a lesbian and has a girlfriend. Okay, those two things mean the same thing. Don't be
well, no,
redundant.
they don't, because you can be lesbian and single.
It's true.
Don't go projecting, Molly. Don't go projecting
What?
your happy relationship on everyone else.
Sorry.
Guys, I love being in a committed relationship where I'm happy with one person that I met in real life and not the internet. That's my endorsement for this stream.
But you could use tighten that to being like, yeah, I just didn't know, yeah, I just didn't know she had a girlfriend. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like literally that tells you all the information you conveyed there, and it truncates it down by like 6 words.
Yeah, like a lot of reducing redundancy is really important because people don't talk like this. You know, like let's say like Sarah, how was your BME exam?
It went pretty good, I think. I hope.
Yeah, so she's not going to say, man, it was difficult. There were all these problems. And plus, on top of that, it was very confusing. Like she says, I hope it went all right.
Yeah,
and
I hope so.
that conveys to me, it was really difficult.
Yeah.
I studied. Let's hope it went
Yeah,
okay.
we'll see.
You know?
She wasn't even interested on top of that.
Okay, that's just more redundancy. DP said, sounding frustrated. Goshes, I need a drink. I'm going to start saying that.
Goshes.
Goshes.
Goshes, I like that. Pepper,
Yes.
you're not old enough to drink, Ben said, slightly concerned. You don't
Well,
need to add, like,
It depends.
it's okay to say said.
I'm also like the comma thing. This is a note because people say you shouldn't use ellipses. I am notorious about ellipses, but that's because I use them very pointedly for pauses when people pause for lengthy periods of time. Like here, I think you're right. It needs a comma where it's just Pepper, you're not old enough to drink. A comma is just a short. The way I've always understood it is like a comma is a very, very quick pause where it's like a moment of thought. A period is a longer pause where it's like definitive. Semicolon and colons are like, they're like hiccups of sorts where like you're shifting gears. But then like ellipses are like, shit, man. Okay, look, here's what we're going to do. Like the space between and shit, man, that's an ellipses.
Yeah. Like what you were on is Pepper, you're not old enough to drink. Not Pepper.
Yeah.
Like I sometimes use ellipses. I think I honestly use ellipses more in description than I do in dialogue. I think it's a really interesting way to, especially if, like, I really like writing third person, but it's focused on one person. I forget what that's called.
Third person perspective tinged with character. Typically what I call it.
I really like that because if you're trying to get into a character's head, like I like it when it's like they're taking a second, like
the only time, like I try to use it sparingly in actual prose. Ellipses I typically use when I use it in prose, I use as sort of like a moment of like trying to find the right word. You'll notice that a lot in my writing where it's like, well, she had a certain grace to her.
Yes, that's That's a great example of if you want to kind of add a little bit of emotion to your writing. Because, you know, when it comes down to it, when you're reading, it's in your head. So you might as well go for it, you know? Like, make it sound like your own thoughts.
Yeah. What I really do recommend for a lot of writers is just write stream of consciousness. It's actually fairly difficult to do when you write stream of consciousness, but it really forces your brain to understand how it works and how it works when put on paper. So.
All right. Yeah, it's interesting. He uses the commas here. Yeah, right. Sorry. Anyway, have a good night, Ben said before he left.
So that was good. That worked. Although comma before
Yeah.
After the night. Also a period after left.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Have a good night, DP said while waving at Ben before DP took his scroll out.
All right. Pause. Pepper.
Here, Sarah, you want to read this? Does that look like a thing you want to just focus your eyes on and read?
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Pepper. Don't shorten your name to DP. For the love of God. This is a T-rated fic. But people are going to think it's M every time they look at that.
It's my favorite Captain Underpants. One of my favorite Captain Underpants jokes that I remember. Those books were so genius. But there was like this one guy, and he wanted to make himself a supervillain, and he called himself Big Melvin. And the prose says whenever he was finished with his work, he would like laser beam a big BM into the ground. And every time I see something like that, I always think back to that scene. Like, please consider what you were doing.
Yeah. So, like, I get that you want to have, like, you were told to shorten it. Who told you to shorten it? Like, okay, Dr. Pepper, it doesn't roll, but Pepper rolls just fine. Just say Pepper.
DP stands for double penetration a lot, so...
Yeah.
Yeah. So, unless...
Double penetration, deep penetration, direct penetration.
Okay. At least, like, when you read DP, for a lot of people, that's not the first thing you think of, but, like, consider...
You're on a fanfiction site.
You are on a fanfiction site. Also, is his first name Doctor?
That would be great. And then he gets a PhD, so his name is Dr. Pepper.
Yeah. When I was in high school, there was a kid whose last name was Pepper. And everybody always said, get a PhD.
Yeah.
Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
But yeah, have a good night, DP said while waving at Ben before DP took out his scroll. Period after the scroll.
Before
out.
DP took his scroll out, like...
But, like...
Diamond and Pearl.
I would recommend that Pepper said while waving at Ben. You can cut the while out, just have said, comma, waving at Ben. Flows much smoother. Period. He took his scroll out. Just cut straight to he took his scroll out. Or maybe just like flicking out his scroll, he started doing something.
I'm sorry, the comments, the chat. Yo, spit post. What's up, girl?
Hey, that new girl in town. We should show her around town. What was her name? Oh yeah, Bukaki. The Adventures of DP, Spit Roast, and Bukaki.
That's my new Ruby team.
Oh my god.
We need a fourth member.
No. This is the story of This is the story of the vigilante cuck.
All right, so okay, I don't think there's so much more we can really go for, but that we haven't already covered. Grammar and conciseness are the two things we want to see you work on the most. That's your homework. My recommendation, as always, find something that really captures that style. Team sexy.
I mean, I've been very, very adamant about like reading a lot helps you understand what you like to see in a story, and I recommend just reading a lot. It wasn't until like there are points where even there are some good fan fiction out there where like I read a smut fic that was so well written just in its prose. It made me want to be a better writer. And I never thought I would see that because I just went into it like, I'm kind of in the mood for this. And I was like, wait, this is fucking gorgeous. What the hell?
Like, for real. Also, Writers RX here. This is your script, your prescription. I would practice writing poetry. Just because the amount of words you need to use is so few, and it's a great way to learn how to get across a lot of information in a few sentences. And I know I say that a lot, that songwriting really helps, but it does. Grammar, the way I learned grammar is well, first of all, my parents made me read a huge amount as a kid, and secondly, my mother is probably the strictest grammar person I know. So she'd look over my homework and she'd be like, Molly, put a comma here. Molly, put a period here. Molly, you need a semicolon. Here's how to use a semicolon. I was like 6. This was ingrained in me literally the moment I learned how to write.
Meanwhile, I'm here off to the side. I literally just read everything. I was terrible in school. Like, the only class I ever flunked was an English class. And that was because I didn't want to do any poetry.
You should have called me.
Well, I was in 7th grade. The last quarter of our semester, the last quarter of our year was literally our entire grade was dependent upon doing this massive poetry project where you make like 20 poems and you have to like draw things along with them. And like I was terrible at drawing.
Send me to this high school.
What?
Send me to the high school.
The high school? This was 7th grade.
Oh, your middle school. Oh, this is 7th grade. I thought you were talking about like high school.
Yeah, no. I never. The worst I got in high school was C. I was always very. I always tried to be the best student I could.
I actually sucked in my high school English classes because it was all about like write an essay about this one word. And I was just like, no, because I was always a big like let's look at the theme.
Well, here's a recommendation I have from my creative writing teacher in my high school year. Go look out a window and describe everything you can see within 30 minutes.
Okay. By the way, we got another. Are we submitting fics for critique? Yes. DM them on Discord to me or on Twitter or Discord for Raymond.
Yes.
Isa, any input from me besides formatting and character voice variation? I think that you are a bit tighter on description than Pepper is, but I would still try something similar. And also, you both need feeling in your fic. It's very dry. It's very, hi there, how are you? This is good. He went into the store. It's very like, you know, very like this very basic sentence structure. Really.
Okay, I have perfect. Think of the stereotypical noir. This will help. The rain fell softly upon the concrete. The wisps of air, wisps of steam coming off the heated rock. Something like, she walked into his office. Her legs were longer than telephone poles and wider than sheets. That sort of thing. It's very purple prose. It's very overdone, but it will help jog your brain into the right places.
Just get some ideas for it, or just read poetry. Read like real classic poetry. Go look up Byron, Dickinson, Blake. Just look them up, and read it and feel it. Really understand what they were going for. Read things about the poems.
And if you want to shred your brain, read Faulkner. Yeah.
My favorite classical poem is Epitaph for a Dog by Lord Byron. It's heart-wrenching. It's a great piece. So Blade Charge sent me his fanfic, and I sent it to you too. He sent me this before. This is Blade Charge and I do go back quite a long way to about my freshman year in college, so 3 years ago now. And he sent me his Kingdom Hearts fan fiction, and I tore it to shreds, rather rudely. And I told him the same thing: read real things, learn how these things work, experiment with your sentence structure, put feeling into it, and we are seeing the result of that now. So.
All right, so
This is like the type of thing where if I was just with Sarah, I would like imitate Petra from Fire Emblem and read it. Set years before the events of Kingdom Hearts Birthplace Sleep, there are more Keyblade wielders during this period. We will go to a forest near a college in a world named Lex. Like, it literally feels like how she speaks. Because that's like actually kind of a great example, because the whole point behind her writing is that it's not her first language, so everything is very like structured out and very basic.
wait, Blade Charge
like,
is a girl?
What?
Is Blade Charge or the character?
We're talking about Petra.
We're talking about how like. As a
Oh,
joke,
okay. I was confused. I thought Blade Charge was a dude, and I'm like, wait, what?
No, Blade Charge is a dude. What I said is that sometimes I'll read it in Petra's voice as a joke when I encounter very dry writing, because it is how she speaks. Because the whole point is that she's like incredibly stunted and also not speaking her language, so it kind of comes off like that. But in jokes aside, this is: we will go to a forest near a college in a world named Lexicon. Late one night, a young woman ran through a lush green forest. Gasping for air as tears streamed down her face, she couldn't see anything farther than a few feet in front of her nose. That's actually a good sentence.
Yeah, that right there. Like you can see it. Like there are granules here that you can pick up on. Like just think of how this reads. Reading these back to back. There's late one night, a young woman ran through a lush green forest, and then gasping for air as tears streamed down her face, she couldn't see anything farther than a few feet in front of her nose. Can read completely differently.
But then, like, it immediately goes, but the sound of juvenile laughter alerted her that the Lexicon College was set up ahead.
And we're back.
Ahead.
Yeah.
There she could find help. She knew he was behind her, but she wasn't sure how far. She shouted, "The college! I think to hear boys. I need help." As she ran, her
okay, that holy crap, that needs like quotation marks or like italicized. What is
everything.
That? What is that sentence? It's she shouted, comma, capital T,
I
the.
think I can hear boys? Is that what it's supposed to say?
It's supposed to be.
I think I can hear boys?
I think I can hear boys. As she ran, her left foot tripped on a root of a tree, and she fell hard on the earth. She fell on the hard earth. She grunted to get back up, but behind her, two pitch-black gloves reached out and grabbed her. They put her in a headlock. In a headlock hold, it's just a headlock, not a headlock hold. To start pulling her back. She tried, and you don't need that part either. That's why you put somebody in a headlock, is to pull them back. She tried to scream, but no one could hear her. She could not escape the stranger's grip and was taken into the darkness of the forest. All that can be heard is a burst of evil laughter. Again, there is like a little bit of actual like evidence that you understand kind of how to set up. Oh my gosh, it's like every 5 seconds I get like.
There's like every 5 or 6 sentences, you find a sentence that actually sticks out. Like, yeah, okay, all right, there's something to work with here. Beyond, of course, like not to say there's nothing to work with anywhere else. It's just like you're like, okay, yeah, no, I could see you being genuinely good at this, but like you have a lot of refining to do. It's like seeing the glimmers of diamond beneath the coal.
The last thing she saw was some boy walking, and what she could make of him is a short spike black hair. No. It's so dense. I love how fluid it is. It's so dense. A white young man that looks like he is a biker, but with a black and purple color scheme. Like, no. No. Did I just hear someone scream something just now? He questioned himself. Maybe it was those drunks again. This would be the 4th week in a row they did that. You know that void again, the young man said. I remember when I showed this to somebody, And he said, if you look up void again, this is the only thing that comes up in all of human existence. So good job. You have invented a name. It's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Googling it now. It is the fourth thing that pops up. It said
Wait, what comes up before it?
There's Void Wigan Beer Bar from Facebook. And then there's Void... It's picking up Void Wigan.
But this spelling.
This is the only void again
Specifically.
ever. The young, short, yellow-haired, athletic white man patted... Don't do that.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's an alarm for you.
I remember telling you this 3 years ago. You are writing a police report, not a story, when you do that.
Unless you are actually writing a police report. Like, that can be a good story if you write it like a police report, as a police report.
Right,
But don't do that in actual prose.
yeah.
Yeah. Like, he said, and behind him was another blonde, short-hair white man, but his hair is thicker and darker. This is like how I... There's a lot of short-haired white men here. It's like describing the computer science majors at my school.
You're right.
I even use Grammarly. Grammarly is the beginning, but you have to know the basics for it to work.
Yeah, Grammarly, I see that all the time. I'm like, how is Grammarly any better than just like grammar check on Word, or like,
Yeah.
or like spell check? Like, Grammarly, I don't think there's any system on the planet that can tell you how to write. It is something that you intrinsic like.
It's a tool.
The whole point of Grammarly is to say, hey, you used the wrong spelling of there.
Right.
Like,
The young, short, yellow-haired, athletic white man patted board again. Technically speaking,
Dramatic.
that is a correct sentence, and Grammarly is going to be like, that is a correct sentence. But it's not going to tell you, hey, this reads like ass.
yeah, his green shirt with black crosshairs shined a bit off the road lights and his camo pants. That's a little better.
Yeah, because like you're describing how it interacts with the world. Like that's typically how you describe someone. You never want to describe them in a vacuum. Like they have this, they have that, they have. You always want to be like his black jacket rubbed up against the branch. Or like his black jacket got cut on the branch. The black fabric being torn as he tried to yank it loose. Like, that's the kind of description you want, so you thread it in with actions being taken and have it significant to the events. If it's not significant, don't write it.
Yeah, that's the toughest thing about writing, is knowing when to cut things.
Like, I cannot tell you how many times I want to describe someone, and, like, there are times where you kind of, like if you want a specific detail in, you have to really work for it to be there. Now, in certain circumstances, you can have it viewed through another character's lens, and that's where like the whole third-person perspective colored by another person's perspective comes into play, where you can have a person being like, she walked in and had this wonderful white hair that was just absolutely like a little cloud atop her head. Like
That's my favorite thing. That's my favorite thing about that writing style, is you get like this little commentary that gives you a clue into two things. It gives you a clue into the character in focus, and also a clue into
the character describing
the world.
Yeah, you describe
like that little it's like the little Pokemon thing. I wrote just like to practice writing again a couple months ago. There's the scene where like one of them says like, "Hey, can you get me some water?" And the other one pours her wine instead, and it goes like, he knew her too well. Like that tells you two things. It tells you about both people in the scene, and that's why I really like doing that.
Well, it tells you actually a lot about them, because it's like, can you get me some water? He poured her wine instead. He knew her too well. It tells you the familiarity between the characters. It tells you the kind of relationship they have. The fact that he didn't just flat out listen to her. He instead, he chose to give her an alcoholic beverage, knowing that she would want it, and even knowing whether or not that would be a good or bad thing for her at the time. Like, there are so many different things that go into that one decision that you just don't get from just flat out telling people about things.
You know, stupid as it was when I had to sit down and write gigantic essays about Pride and Prejudice because Caroline Bingley used this word instead of this word, as shitty as doing that was, and much as I would never want to do it again, there is merit in putting a lot in a little and learning how to extrapolate that and then work backwards.
Now, I'm also a big fan of the fact that, like, the author, the reason the curtains were blue in this scene is the author wanted to convey the depression the character was going through. Meanwhile, the curtains were fucking blue.
Yeah.
Like, I personally, I do subscribe a lot to that, too. So it's always a balancing
there's
act.
two things. It is a double-edged sword. Yes, you were looking for meaning which doesn't exist, but when you are the writer, you can choose to put those tiny things in there.
Yeah. And the best part is when you have both, and you can be like, yeah, you fucking decide for yourself. I'm going to pretend like I'm smart when you discover things I didn't even intend. It's great. It's wonderful, great.
Yeah.
That's why I hold my pipe upside down.
But yeah, put a lot into a little. That's a lot of what it is. Don't make your reader sit down and extrapolate a scholastic essay, but let them know more things than you would think can be implied in like one dialogue exchange.
Let's see. Where were we?
Did anybody DM you?
Did someone DM me? Because I'm in streamer mode, so it doesn't. I have one from Moopa, who is one of the wonderful artists that we have from the Sketchy Huntsman. And I have one from Rick's Arts, who is, I believe, just a regular patron. I don't think you're in the Sketchy Huntsman. I have like 30 people in the Sketchy Huntsman. It's hard to keep track of. Floof. Oh, he just said that.
Ray is so cool. He smokes a pipe upside down. He does it to impress Tiny Wise.
Shit, did I just fuck that up? I did. Okay, 1 minute. Quick, the camera's down. You can do whatever you want. Okay, there we go. Fix it. All right. Shit. I revealed the wrong ones. That's Twitter. Close Twitter. There we go. Okay. So are we going to keep reading this, do you think? Or do we want to move on to a different one?
Yeah, let's move on to a different one.
Okay. Gotta go for the fanfic.net format. There we go. You're on my heart, just like a ... Probably want to remove those
Tiny
dashes.
Wise, worship Tiny Wise.
Yes.
But this is, I believe, by Moopa. Let me see.
I love the story behind Tiny Wise. It's so awful.
Let's see. Here's a fanfic submission that was written back in 2015 if you'd like to take a quick gander at it. My username on YouTube is Rastalolman, but I'm really embarrassed over this fic, Lamau. It's C-rated Ruby fic, so I think it's probably rather appropriate for the stream. I'd also like to preface that the story was written more for the sake of exploring the concept itself rather than the ship displayed, lol. Like, I'm a better writer, and I'm at the point where I'm starting to understand the ways writing falls flat, but I'm still fairly recent revelation for me, and I would still really enjoy the critique. All right, well, we'll tear you to shreds.
I feel like Tiny Wise is like that scene from SpongeBob where SpongeBob like sticks out his hand and everybody starts applauding.
Yeah, you can have it too, so you can help me read because my voice is struggling here.
So, okay, Sarah, you want to read?
I'm not very good at reading.
Well, you made it to biomedical engineering school, so you have to be
reading out loud.
So let me get this straight. She's biomedical engineering, and you're just like regular engineering, or
I'm civil engineering.
Yeah.
civil engineering.
So her field of expertise is she wants to work with prosthetics and implants.
Yeah, robotic prosthetics.
Robotic prosthetics. She cares a lot about that industry, and she is going to do something great one day.
Thank you.
Yes.
And
my piece of advice for you: play the Deus Ex games and just do that. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I know there's probably 1 or 2 steps in between, but I'm sure you'll figure it out. And their camera froze. Wonderful. Good timing, camera.
Anyway.
Yes.
But I am civil engineering, and I want to work with transportation. So I want to work with designing highways and train systems.
Yeah.
It's exciting stuff. Exciting stuff.
It is. Although every time I talk with biomedical engineers, I always just feel inferior.
You're not.
Like, I'm talking with my friend Felipe, and he's just like, yeah, my internship over the summer had to do with like moving brain cancer cells out of the body, and I'm just like, okay. Well, I worked on trains.
Well, it's like all the macro versus micro type deal, where like one is neither more important than the other.
I know, it's just kind of funny because they're like, everything they do is so impressive, and I'm like, well, a highway needs to have a speed limit of 63 miles an hour if...
I mean, hey, that's also important.
Oh my god, if you make a highway that has 63 miles per hour, I don't know whether I'd be angry at you or impressed. Like I'm so used to like increments of 5.
Yeah, the AASHTO standards are to round to the nearest 5, so don't get too excited. Fun fact. The average free flow speed is 62.5 miles an hour. That is the baseline that we work with.
All right, so let's see. Based on Blue Starlight's idea regarding soulmates, here's my own interpretation of the concept and possible consequences thereof. In this AU, everyone is born with a tattoo. The tattoo is brown scribbles to start with, but one day, if the person is lucky, the tattoo changes from brown to orange, slowly swirling into little.
Oh my gosh,
colors.
it's a soulmate tattoo fic.
I to be fair, I unironically love these. I really do love these.
Well, they sate your cheesy ship heart.
Yeah. It's really just like there. It's fun fluff stuff. Although I do like it when they surprise you with like soulmates that hate each other type deal. Like.
Oh my gosh, is this monochrome? Hold on. Oh, it's Ruby. Oh, it's Ruby and Ozpin. Oh my gosh, I saw Blake and Weiss, and I was like,
wait,
oh
it's
my
Ruby and
gosh.
Ozpin. Moopa, what the fuck?
Oh no! Oh no! Guys, cancel stream. Cancel stream.
Oh my god, Shane's the next one out of Rooster Teeth. Even though he's not in Rooster Teeth, he's just a
screen cap this.
When it turns orange. Well, first issue, you're describing a lot of how this mechanics work in the author's note, which isn't uncommon for soulmate things, but you know, good to keep a.
It is best to weave that into the dialogue somehow, or into the description. The best is in dialogue, like
I don't know.
You know,
no, like the best is in like descriptive prose, like
yeah.
Literally. Show don't tell applies to stories where you can actually show things happening as opposed to like saying it's happening because of this. Just say this is happening and then let the reader be like, why? And like try and piece together why it's happening as they get more and more description.
Yeah, let's see. Her alarm buzzed, an incessant little sound that would settle for nothing less than a hard button push. Ruby woke with a yawn, stretching and arching her back. She sat up, the other girls in her dorm also getting up, one by one. Good morning, team, she greeted. Okay, compared to the other things we've been reading, this is excellent.
Yeah. It's
just
still,
from the first time.
It could be stronger, but so far it feels, it moves smoother and it's snappier. So like we have an alarm, we have her hitting the alarm, we have her getting up. We don't even like an incessant little sound that would settle for nothing less than a hard button push. In that one sentence, we have so much information, and it's implied that she does the action, even though it's not directly stated that she does.
Yeah, like, and it was written when Volume 3 was airing. Throwback, jeez. This is Rex's or
Moopa Mova.
This is who?
Moopa Mova.
Moopa?
Yeah, she's a one of the character designers actually for fixing Ruby.
Okay, Moopa.
Nice.
This is definitely. I don't mean to be sexist, but yes, you can tell that this is more of a woman's writing. It is more focused on the characters. It is more descriptive. Like, I'm just kind of going through it. But is also a stronger base to this. So
Yeah.
the stronger base being, I can tell that the grammar is very tight.
Yeah.
There's more there's more experimentation with the sentence structure. It's just better.
Huh. There's an idea. Do you think the bias against purple prose is a sexist concept?
I don't think it is, because a lot of purple prose is obnoxious and boring. Like I think we talked about last time that you know, like, let's say somebody slaps someone. He bound across the table, the muscles tensing in his hand as he brought his fist across his, like, let's relax.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a matter of, let's relax. Like, even in this first sentence, like, there is it's a bit much. Where it's like, she woke with a yawn, stretching and arching her back. She sat up the other, like okay, that's better, but like, Yang engaged her hair with a sturdy brush.
That reads of someone trying to use more flowery language than needs to be.
That's what purple prose is. Purple prose isn't just giving isn't just
Right.
like noir description of the rain patted slightly, like it's like, okay, it is it's let's take it a step down here. That's always what tells me it's purple prose, is if I feel like, okay, everybody, let's relax a little.
Yeah, like, I don't need, like, 3 lines describing how beautiful the sunset is, though my grandfather will tell you otherwise.
My name is Tiffany Darkness Dementia Ravenway. Today I am wearing, like, once you start getting to that territory.
But let's see, let's workshop this a little bit. Ruby woke with a yawn, stretching and arching her back. She sat up, the other girls in her dorm also getting up, one by one. Okay. Instead, describing Ruby woke with a yawn, stretching and arching her back. As her teammates woke around her, as her teammates stirred around her. That's probably better. One by one, I do kind of like the one by one being somewhere in there, but I don't know where to slot it in. Like,
she sat up, the other girls in her dorm also getting up. That's long. Just say, like, one by one, the girls rose.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I said, I just condensed that down into, like, stretching her back as the rest of her team began to stir.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she had, good morning, team, she greeted. I would have gone, like, one by one, they greeted her in turn, but maybe that would seem too mechanical, I think. Weiss was already
dressing. That's kind of awkward.
I think
Weiss got dressed.
Yeah, I would say Weiss is already halfway dressed. I would say, like describe at what state she is in her dressing. Like, Weiss is already halfway dressed, and Yang was.
We don't use dressing as a verb anymore, like in regular English language.
Yeah, not as much. It's rarer, certainly.
Yeah.
While Yang engaged her hair with a sturdy brush. Now here's an issue. Typically, whoever you lead off with, the first noun in a sentence, in a paragraph, denotes who's going to be speaking if you do use speech in that paragraph. You can have it where it's quickly followed up with, it's someone observing that person and then that person making commentary. But typically keep in mind, when you start off a paragraph with a noun, with a proper noun, with someone, they're going to be the one speaking in that paragraph. You got to be very careful with that. So the way I would have had that, Yang grabbed the brush from the bedside, or from the, what do you call it, the vanity. Yang grabbed her brush from the vanity, where Weiss was already halfway dressed. She turned, and then she says, "Good morning, Ruby." Then the good morning, Ruby. Yang answered. I still feel like maybe it's still a little too messy to keep Weiss in there. I feel like
By the
maybe
way, I
we should
think this is
separate
gonna
it
be
out.
the last fanfic before.
What?
Because 6:30.
Oh, right, shit.
Sarah's hungry.
I'm very hungry. I'm sorry.
I
Last thing ate was
relate.
the burrito at 11.
Okay. And we could always save ones for next week.
Yeah, no, I assumed we're going to be doing this every week for a while.
Yeah. Because I actually I really enjoy this. This is fun stuff.
It's fun because it really is fun because there's like the ones where it's super obvious what's wrong, but I actually really enjoy stuff like this where it's beyond kind of my writer's eye, but it's definitely in yours.
Yeah. And it's fun to talk about this stuff. Oh, it's exciting. And I love hearing because you have insights that I don't really pick up on sometimes, because the way I put it, I use charisma for everything. I just feel my way through things and just hope I'm doing the best I can. And I kind of use a little bit of wisdom to kind of smooth it over. You seem to have a much more attuned wisdom intelligence sense to writing compared to me. Which is kind of a weird way to describe it. I try to use like Pathfinder Dungeons and Dragons ability scores to describe things, so that it does it does convey at least somehow a little bit of what I'm trying to describe. But this is When There's Trouble by RX Writer, which is Rick's Arts.
Yeah.
It was always the dogs. The place
my
was
cutout time for dinner.
What? Oh, did I cut out?
Yeah, you did. What were you saying?
Oh, I was just going into this. When There's Trouble by Rick's Arts, which is RX Writer.
Oh, can we do Rick's first thing next week?
Oh, sure, yeah, we can do that next week instead. Sorry, Rick's Arts. We'll come back to this one.
We hungry.
Yeah, I'll cut this, and I will pin it so we don't forget. Oh,
Guys, we love this. Send us your work. We want to help you get better. Everybody can write something.
Yes.
Everybody can write something.
Exactly. Also, did I pin the... What? Direct messages don't... Wait, this direct message doesn't have any pin. I literally just pinned one.
Sarah's getting antsy.
I'm sorry.
there we go.
I'm sorry.
Also, oh yeah, crap. We had like more questions by Adam Ogabi to cover.
Yeah, we could do that next week too. Sorry, Adam.
Yep, and I'll pin this.
Sorry.
So yes.
It seems like it's good timing for everyone.
Yeah, I'm starving. All right. Thank you all so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this little stream. I had a blast. I hope you two had a blast. Sarah, I hope you had a good experience on here.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, remember, if you ever want to chat with us, you can hit me up on Twitter. If you want, for $1 or more, you get access to the Team Frostbite Discord server, the Tundra, where I, Fat Man, Mollie, and a whole other host of big personalities interact with you guys regularly.
I feel weird being called a big personality. I just bother people.
Big personality, small package.